Everybody, thanks for checking out the Chris Gethard Show podcast. It's really cool that you're checking this out.
We're about to do, I think, the dumbest show we've done in years.
His life would be trash! You better believe I'm trashed.
We are scrappy trash people.
What's the point of this show? I just turned it on.
We've always been with this show.
We've always been trash people. We will always be trash people.
True.
This doesn't feel real.
Hello, everyone! Live from my grandmother's basement, we are the Trash People. I'm Emily Pineapple.
And I'm Forrest, keeper of the Canon.
And we talk about things that are somehow related to in the orbit of things that Chris Gethard has been associated with. So much like Titan, trapped in the gravity of Jupiter and never able to fulfill its propensity towards multicellular organisms that may or may not exist beneath the ice. Or is that Europa?
I don't know.
I think they both got it, you know? I think they both got it. Oh, hi Vlogtoven. Welcome, everyone. Europa's got the ice. Europa's the one with the ice. And do you know who just told us who's got the ice? That's right. It is our guest today. I am so excited to welcome this person. If you have been to any of the George Lucas talk shows,
Whoopee.
You'll have seen this person's art. You will probably recognize their name. Friends, I would love to welcome to the show Horde Jedi.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh
Europa
my
has
gosh.
ice, I think. Now I'm second guessing myself.
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm like sure that Europa has ice. I don't know if Titan also has ice.
Okay.
Is the main question. Because I know that Vonnegut wrote The Sirens of Titan.
Titan does. But it has liquid water likely beneath the surface.
I'll see you all in my condo on Titan in 20 years. Oh, hey, TP Snacks. Oh, hey, Jigglypuff and stuff for 20. Horde Jedi.
Hi.
You are here today because you have created just an incredible cadre of art. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Cadre. That's like group of art.
Yeah.
But fancy sounding.
That's very kind of you to say.
And we've been able to see so much of it. I'm so excited. I want to get started by letting people get to know you a little bit. Tell us your fan story. How has fandom in general interacted with your life? Which can also be answered in how many Star Wars t-shirts do you have?
Well, you're right in that I think the answer to that definitely is 90% Star Wars. Nice. I think, like a lot of kids, well, actually, I think my love of Star Wars began with fandom because my parents saw it. And I remember in third grade, the special editions were going to be re-released in the theaters, and my dad was trying to get me excited, and so he would, as like bedtime stories, tell me about certain parts of the movies that he liked. And he told me, I remember one of the things he said was that he loved the cantina scene because it made him believe this was a real place. And like as a little kid, like hearing a grown-up say that, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And so I spent a lot of time in the lead up to the movie, like drawing things my dad had told me. Like my mom had sort of showed me a Star Wars comic at a store. And I remember, like, so I would try to like remember that and draw that stuff at home. So like my first Star Wars encounters were all like fan art.
So cool. Fan stuff. You were raised in Star Wars.
I think so. But you know what's funny is now they tell me that they didn't like it that much. So I don't know if they were just like trying to get like, you'll like this, let's hype it up. I don't know. But
this is something we've seen. Kids like it.
This will keep you busy for a couple hours tonight. Yeah. I think I've heard though from other people though that it started like that. Like they heard about it before they saw it, at least, people who weren't alive when it came out. And it started with, playing with their parents' toys or hearing their parents' stories about it and stuff like that. So
it was similar for me, for sure. Like some of my first Star Wars memories are like those playground bubble things where it was like a square of rectangle with a bubble in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I would sit behind it and pretend it was a TIE fighter.
Oh, those things.
And I would just sit there going, pew, pew, pew.
That's so cool. What else could those be? Like, why would they put those in if not to be
They're
the
spaceships, at
windshield
least.
of a TIE fighter? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely, it's that thing where I don't remember learning anything about Star Wars. I just remember always knowing, like, that Vader's Luke's father and all that. It's just like, what? Whenever Twitter
Spoilers
has the thing,
for anyone watching.
Oh, sorry. Sorry if I just gave you that experience of never
Yeah, don't
knowing.
look at this
This is part of
t-shirt.
it. How we all get into it. It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it because I tried watching it with my dad when I was younger. I was too young, I think, to like be able to pay attention.
Sure.
And then like this really cool girl at camp was really into Star Wars and sci-fi, and I wanted to be like her, and she was also a little older than me. So I really liked Star Wars, and she taught me the Star Wars gangster rap. Remember that? And
Like from Newgrounds? Like
from
the
Newgrounds.
little flash? Wow.
Yeah. We performed it for the camp, and it was like a family camp. And after that day, like every dad was obsessed with us in like a really kind way. So we would like ride around the camp. They're like, it's the Star Wars girls, and like let us like arrange fights with their children, like because they sold like the little plastic lightsabers in the like store they had there. So all the little. We're like, all right, if they hit you in a part, that part is gone. You cannot use it anymore. When you have lost both hands, you can use the Force.
We to ban certain parts of the Star Wars rap. Oh my god. What a trip. Well, like all three of us started by being indoctrinated through someone else's Star Wars fandom. Yeah, interesting.
Like I remember there was that exhibit that traveled around where they had every costume and prop from the original trilogy. And I remember seeing that and going and thinking things were things that they weren't. Like, I remember looking at Han and Carbonite and being like, I think that's Anakin. That's Luke's father.
Oh.
So I was seeing it at a young enough age where the imagery stuck, but the plot details didn't.
How interesting.
That's so fascinating.
That's really interesting. You were sort of creating your own fan fiction.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
And it's my other memory of that is Carrie Fisher came into the Bay Area and stood in a window that was at the top of whatever museum it was with a speeder bike and was like, "Where the Star Wars is here." I was just like,
wait, like you saw? Wait, so you were a kid?
I saw that on the news. I saw that on the news.
But
I just remember freaking out.
Carrie Fisher in a window, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
No, I did see her at Celebration, but I was like 17. That was less surprising.
Well, sure, but I'm sure just as magical.
Oh, incredible! I sat in the line for that for hours.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, speaking of props and things that are traveling around, Horde Jedi, tell us, when did this fandom that you had developed, when did it foment into creating more detailed pieces than just drawing? How did that relate to your, growth as an artist?
That's a really good question. I think, I did a lot of, I certainly played with a lot of Star Wars toys, and I had like the Hasbro telescoping lightsaber and stuff like that, but I didn't make anything until I would say, I think actually right when The Last Jedi came out, I was feeling so patriotic for Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? You know that feeling?
Yeah.
Where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, I love Star Wars?
Oh, yeah.
And I had just sort of taken leave from grad school, and I didn't know what to do with my time or my life. And I Googled like lightsaber class just because I thought like, and it turns out there are, especially around here, there are groups of people that create like movie accurate Star Wars costumes and build and learn lightsaber fight choreography from the movies and put on shows for kids. And that sounded like the best thing in the world to do with my time. Yeah. And so it was really through them. I have a lot of, because sometimes it can feel like, without the right way in, it can be a little gatekeepery, right? Where it's I want to make the most accurate thing possible. I'm sure everyone's going to be really nice about it. It's not usually what happens. And so they kind of helped me feel a little more comfortable learning and making mistakes, and it was nice to have the community to do it. So I would say around then is when I started.
So tell me, this Are you talking about the Rebel Alliance people?
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
Rebel Legion. is
Rebel
one,
Legion, yes.
And the 501st is the. So sorry, Rebel Legion is like people who dress like the good guy characters, basically. And then 501st are the bad guy characters. And then there's also a third one called Saber Guild, where basically you dress like either character as long as your character has a lightsaber, and you get to learn how to use a lightsaber. That's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing. It's the best one. Don't tell me it's the best one.
I fucking love those people. Whenever we went to a convention, we invariably ended up with the costume people, the costumers, the people, and the droid makers. Oh my God. Yo, there are people making droids, and apparently Hacksmith Industries has made something close to a real lightsaber. So that is something to look the fuck up.
Holy cow, no kidding.
What?
But also for anyone who goes to a convention, it's the best panel, my favorite panels, I should say, were always the like, we're going to talk about things we made.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's explain how things work.
So did you learn how to sew and craft from the Rebel Legion? What age were you when you joined?
Or Saber.
I was 20. Don't remember. Late 20s. And I learned to sew a little because I did do like cosplaying and stuff as a teenager, but I wasn't. And we had talked about this a little bit before, but like when you're a teenager, at least for me, I was really afraid to be bad at anything, which doesn't mean that I was good at anything. It just meant that I always felt bad about whatever I was doing. And so, like, I did sew a little bit, but I was afraid to kind of go too far into it. But my mom sewed a lot, and so I sort of slowly, as I got older, accumulated a little bit of sewing. But I think my first costume was my Jedi costume for Rebel Legion. Yeah.
Is that this one?
That's me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Such a cool costume.
Gorgeous. So I know that Rebel Legion is an awesome group, and these costumes, in order to join, you have to be 100p screen accurate.
Yeah.
How was that experience, having gone from, first, were you cosplaying Star Wars as a teenager?
No, I was. I dressed up in Star Wars costumes as a kid, like a little kid, but mostly I did like... I think I did mostly anime.
Nice. Ooh, what were your faves? Tell us like your faves costumes, because that's so cool.
That's nice for you to say. Now that I think it, maybe mostly J-Rock costumes. So I was Mana from Malice Miser, the J-Rock band. I was Sailor Pluto, Utena. Yeah, those are I think my favorites.
Do you feel like do you feel like a lot of your art is inspired directly from fandom things?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think I realized that before, but I think you're totally right. I think yeah, I think so. Most of the stuff that I've done has been in relation to some sort of media, but more often than not, like a community surrounding a certain piece of media, you know, like I don't think it's a coincidence that I didn't feel confident making my own costumes and lightsabers and stuff until I had other people to do it with, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think you're right.
That's really interesting. It's almost like a way of dealing with perfectionism is to just find community to like people to help you and sort of rally around you. Do you feel like that's
really
you're
smart.
drawn to that?
I think that's right. And also I think, you know, I'm kind of, I have a hard time meeting people and making friends and stuff like that. And it's also a nice way to be like, to have an excuse to talk to someone and be like, how did you make your belt? As opposed to like, will you be my friend?
Right? It's like, what do we talk about if we're not doing a thing together? Like, that's fucking awesome. Are there any other fandoms that you feel like are important to your development as an artist besides these anime, awesome costumes and Star Wars?
You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, a lot of it is sort of passing interest and stuff like that, or I'll get kind of hyper fixated on something. Like this past year, my wife and I just started watching. Someone said George Lucas talk show. Like, yeah, that's kind of my new Star Wars.
It's such a Star Wars community. I mean, that's like sort of what I want to get to eventually is talking about how they have created a creative space for makers where they're just like, behold permission and behold a topic.
Yes, and you want to talk like, and Walkta was like it's right in that also like, I recognize their name because they're really nice and they're really funny, and I see them every week. And so you kind of want to engage, you feel more comfortable engaging with people in that regard. And, you know, talk about like a community that's like friendly about progress. And, you know what I mean? It's like, I can make a Photoshop in like 10 minutes, and I certainly wouldn't like, you know, I wouldn't call it like my best work or anything like that, but like, it's just to make, you know, it's just to engage with another person.
Right.
And that's enough. Yeah.
And make doodles, essentially. Like, everyone needs a sketchbook.
I'm not going in MoMA, but
I freaking love it. And it's such a comedy style. Tell us, are there any other fandoms that you feel like you have been attached to first, like media?
Yeah, well, like, right. So my wife and I, like everybody, like we've had kind of a hard year. And so we've been doing a lot of like, re-engaging with the stuff we liked when we were kids and stuff like that. And when I was a kid, I really loved Ducktales. And now there's this new Ducktales that, you know, I'm a childless woman in her 30s and I watch it every week. and
there is zero fucking shame on that. We are here to experience pleasure.
Unfortunately, I still feel compelled to.
Right?
Yeah.
They want to shame us for creating incredible things. Tell me how you made this.
So my other main motivation for making stuff is like, I want something that doesn't exist, and so I want to figure out how to make it exist. And I wanted a Ducktales Christmas sweater because, you know, I couldn't go anywhere for Christmas. I just wanted like a fun, thank you. I just wanted like a fun way to, you know, be silly at home. And so I have this die cut machine. Where you can, it comes with the software where you can sort of draw or program what you want it to cut out of certain materials. And so that is, I think, 90 different pieces of felt that are cut out. Each color, you can kind of see it's a little fuzzy, like each color was cut out individually and essentially ironed over each other in certain layers.
Oh, wow. Is it a circuit?
Really fun. Sorry? Oh, yes. Yeah, cricket.
Circuit? That cricket, that's what that thing does?
Dude,
what?
It does everything. I can't believe it's real. I can't believe it's real. Like, it's
these things are available in freaking Michaels. I've been seeing them everywhere. I'm like, what is this for? Like, I've seen it. I mean, of course, you know, people making beautiful things that have like holographic layers on top of them. And, you know, and I'm like, what? How would I work with this? It cuts fabric?
Okay. So, I don't know if this is interesting to everybody watching, but it does cut
fabric. I don't care.
It's very interesting.
Chipboard. You can engrave chipboard, so you can make your own, like, little, like, I know, your own, like, little wood plaques to the wall, your own placemat, your own whatever you want that's made in a chipboard. It can, it cuts felt, it cuts foam, so, like, if you make cosplay armor out of foam, it'll cut that. It can write for you, so you can make like a card, and it can so you can it'll have a pen in one hand and a blade in another hand, and it'll cut the card out and also like you know, draw whatever you want to have drawn on it, or calligraphy and stuff like that. So I can't believe it's real.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I can't recommend it enough.
Question: was this particular piece of rad ass armor made with the help of the cricket?
Isn't. I wish that was pre-cricket that I've been working on that, and I've been using it I have some scale mail that I'm making to go underneath it that's made out of foam, and that's something like I cannot cut individual scales, you know, 10,000 or whatever I need with my hand. I mean, I could, but I died.
No. I can't use my hands anymore because I was so insistent on embroidery. Like, stupid reasons. That and customer service jobs. Not even once. No, I think actually everyone fucking needs to get, like, bitched out by boomers. Just to learn to be nice. But that's fucking incredible. Is that particular armor from is that from your mind? Is that from a particular video game or property?
No, so I was sitting at home, I was depressed, and I was like flipping through maybe even Tumblr or something like that, and I saw a picture of Kristen Stewart wearing a suit of armor, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had a suit of armor. And then I decided to try and come up with one. And so that was its own fun thing too, because it's like if you could be a knight or a prince or whatever like that.
Has she played Joan of Arc?
I don't know. I
feel like she would kill that fucking role. Like she would murder it.
Yeah, she'd be amazing.
Damn.
Right. If she hasn't already, she should. We'll have to get in touch with her and let her know.
Yeah, exactly. We'll call her. We'll contact her people. It'll be all taken care of. Tell me how you cut and used the armor and how you are cutting these scales. Like, what is your process? Yeah, that's fucking great, Fake Russ.
Thank you. So, Jigglypuff and Stuff 420, I love saying your name. That I really appreciate that because I'm not a painter, and a nice thing about like a project like this is like you sort of realize so it starts with like I'd like to have armor, what it look like, and then it's like, well, how do you make it? And then it's like, well, how do I shape it? Then it's how do I sand it? Then it's how do I paint it? And like I had to watch like a bunch of videos on how to paint rust, and it's just stuff it's stuff I take for granted in other people's work. Do you know what I mean? Just because I have no experience in making it, and I didn't realize like every piece of dirt you see on a costume is probably painted there.
And it's such an intimidating part because of that, because you're like, I know it's there, but I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
But you did such a good job with that.
That's so
Very
interesting.
Kind. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was curious because like I come more from like I have never made clothing of any kind. Like the patterns just like was too difficult for me to figure out with my attention span. I'm just like, no, I want to start make thing.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Whereas like the painting has always seemed more like, like I can paint a fucking thing. Tell me about the making of the armor pieces themselves.
Sure.
Are you drawn to patterns, and do you have any little Richies to show us?
I do have some Richies. So first I'll show you. So this is my finished gauntlet I have here.
Ooh,
and then I'll take it away for a second. I'll bring it back. Okay. But it actually starts with a pattern. I also struggle with patterns. My spatial reasoning is just not very good, and so it's the part I like the least. And it takes a long time, but I have to keep thinking of it like it's a skill I can apply to a lot of different things. Right? It probably helps me park, right? You know, like it
absolutely.
helps.
Packing a car.
Exactly. Yeah. So that part's kind of a drag. And unfortunately, it starts with what you actually do. Like for example, for a chest piece, a torso armor, you wrap yourself in Saran wrap. And then cover yourself in duct tape over that saran wrap so you have like a mold of your body. And then you cut it off, and anywhere that it starts to curve or that won't sit flat basically, you cut there, and that's your seam. So that when you glue it all together, so this for example has a bunch of different pieces I had to glue together to create this curved shape.
That's so cool. And
so this material is first it's called craft foam or EVA foam. It's pretty cheap and lightweight and soft. That's another thing is like this is not made out of metal, so you can wear it and walk around Renaissance fair or whatever and not faint. So there's a layer of that, and then on top of it is what's it's called Warbler it's basically thermoplastic.
Yeah.
So it's plastic. You get it in a sheet like this, and you heat it, and when it gets hot enough, it becomes malleable, almost like clay almost. You can really mold it. Ooh. And so you wrap that over the foam so you have this nice hard texture. Now the problem though is Warbler is very, I don't know if you can see, it's very bumpy.
Oh yeah.
Which metal is not. So the next step, by the way, I love getting to show people this. I've been locked in my house for so long. Only my wife is so sick of this.
Cool. This is fucking incredible.
You're so sweet. Thank you. So then you cover it in gesso, which you then sand for an entire season of Ducktales, basically, until it gets smooth enough that you can paint. And hopefully, if it's flat enough, it can be reflective enough to maybe from a distance look a little bit like metal.
Wow, it looks so much like metal.
So good.
Tell me, when you have the foam pieces, are you gluing the foam pieces together to make that shell shape?
Yes.
And then when you put the Worbla on top, it doesn't need to be on like a firm surface to like spread out over, or?
Oh, that's a good, sure. So it's actually, another great thing about Worbla, so this side here is adhesive and it's self-adhesive, so it sticks to itself. So once it cools again, it'll harden in whatever shape that it's in. So it becomes malleable. And what I do is, some people put Worbla on both sides, but that's just, I can't afford that. So I put it over one, and then you kind of like wrap, see if I can find.
Sort of like wrapping it a little bit around the ends like fondant.
That's exactly right. It's basically just plastic fondant. That's exactly right. But then the nice thing about that is you can stick the Worbla that's wrapped over the ends to each other. So it's basically, you don't even really need to use glue. The people that just use foam without the Worbla, it's nice because it's lighter and it's cheaper, but you have to use glue, which I find is less forgiving than Worbla, because you can also heat Worbla and bend it back and it can become a sheet again. It's really forgiving. Thank goodness.
Have you ever had to put it on your body and then like heat it up? And like, I feel like that's what I would do. And I have done that before with other things, and I do still have scars. Don't steam items that are on your body. This is my PSA from my stupid ass.
I think I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where if you're steaming clothing, it's because you got to go somewhere and you're in a hurry.
Yeah.
And it just seems so harmless. It's just floating water, but yeah.
It's not friends. No. But is that a thing that you have to do with the Worbla armor?
You're
or
not
have you done it?
I have. You're not supposed to, but I have. Like, for example, this, you know, this is the first piece of armor I made was this. And so I wasn't quite sure how to shape things. And so I had like a long sleeve, and I very like, ow, 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 like gingerly, tried to bend it around my arm. You're not supposed to, but I mean,
yeah,
it depends on what you want to. Yeah.
Sometimes the brain wants the dopamine. You must obey.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Those armor pieces are absolutely incredible. Yeah. Tell me about the Photoshops. I wanted to ask you about the process of this particular one because I loved it so much. And I'm curious about the elements of it. This is where there are things on top of the museum.
Oh, is that my tribute to Goop Goop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bless Goop Goop.
Yeah.
Bless Goop Goop. Tell me about this. Tell me about making it. These are Goop Goop's arts, correct?
Yes, yeah. And I just realized I didn't tell Goop Goop about this. I'm sorry, Goop Goop.
Goop Goop's a computer. I'm sure that they are scanning the internet to pick up these sorts of things. Yes.
And I would think, from what I know of Goop Goop, I think they would appreciate it because they're a very, very great collaborator.
Yeah, they're sweethearts. They've been around for so long.
That's wonderful. So I don't remember how it started. I think someone was talking about wanting to have a George Lucas talk show exhibit at the George Lucas Museum of the Moving Image that's opening up. Yeah. And obviously that's probably not something that could be negotiated with the actual people running the museum. But then people were sort of talking about like maybe there's like a field nearby where we can do like a pop-up exhibit. And then I thought, what if we just project Goop Goop's images on the walls of the museum? I don't think you can get arrested for that. And if you can, if you're a cop, you have to tell me. So yeah. So this,
oh my God.
Yeah, this is definitely something that I'm going to try someday.
Have you seen, like, I know of the projections from, in San Francisco at least, the Palace of Flowers.
Yeah.
Or whatever has, like, freaking, like, light shows that just happen on the front of the building.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is that sort of what you're thinking of?
That's what I thought. I'm sure it's not feasible without thousands of dollars in a permit, but I can dream. I'd like to give Goop Goop the exhibit they deserve.
Yo, that's what a community is for. And speaking of community, tell me about what you have found in the specific George Lucas talk show area in this sort of artist community. How has that influenced what you've been creating and your development over the past since that happened? Do you feel like it's changed, grown, different?
Yeah, I think it really can't, just in general, it really can't be overstated how extraordinary and like psychologically, maybe even spiritually vital it is to have a, it's like, this year has really sucked. And I feel like I haven't had a lot of interactions with, my friends and family, in real life. And also I feel like a lot of what I was taking in from the outside world were, people being shot, people not wearing masks, people, storming the Capitol. There were like, I feel like this past year, it's been my only window into the outside world has been a very, very frightening one. And it's been so nice to know that at the very least, like there are, times on a calendar, like that I know that I can, A, like laugh, and B, just be with people who are supernaturally kind and weird and sweet, and funny. Like everybody in the on every show and in the chat for every show makes me laugh really hard, and it's really kept me alive this year. And so you want to, like, I don't know, like when I want to make something that will make somebody else laugh. It's also nice because on the George Lucas talk show they just throw out prompts every few minutes, and so you never really have to. It's really easy. If anything, it's almost like a really helpful creative exercise to be like, you have 10 minutes to make X. Goodbye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, GLTS has been so great and grounding this year. Having a routine and having, I mean, honestly, like, I don't think I have seen in any other communities that I have seen or any other types of media the extent to which they do this. They create assignments for the viewers.
Yeah. It's so funny. And like, it's, I've learned that it's like one of my favorite comedic tropes is like people demanding something really unreasonable, like it's nothing, and then somebody following through just out of loyalty and love, Like they do it to Bryson, every night. Like it's sort of like at a much higher stakes scale, right? But it's and you know what? I literally don't remember what they said to make me make that. I actually don't know. I literally don't remember.
At least an Irishman.
That's right. Exactly right. And it's like, I have never seen, I feel bad because like Photoshop, it's something that you can be very quick with, you know what I mean? Because you're pulling source, at least I am pulling source images, and that's a lot of the work done. Yeah. But like there are people that make fucking oil paintings and puppets and video games, and it's like my favorite thing. During the show and at the end of every show, especially like if I love just looking through at everything everyone has made without the context of the show to try and figure out how was going on. But like it's such a privilege. Like I don't know, I get so emotional. Like it's such a privilege to see so many cool things. Just made for no other purpose other than just to have fun and be silly. And it just feels like such a privilege. It makes me glad the internet exists for once,
Yo.
I very much agree.
For sure.
It's just so cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool. So show me. There are some more little Richies all up in your area. And one of them it appears to be smiling at us.
Yes.
Just in the corner of your frame. Show us this little friend.
So my other primary coping mechanism this year has been Animal Crossing, like a lot of people. And there's a certain frog named Prince who I really loved. And then I went online thinking like, surely everyone is also a person of taste and loves this frog as much as I do. And then discover that he's like a reviled, cover his ears, like a reviled character. And nobody likes him. They think he's weird and gross, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And so it was kind of out of spite that I said, well, I'm going to make myself a prince. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I had never made a toy before. And so it's another thing is like, it's just stuff to keep your, like, I feel like I'm a jack of all trades, right? Because it's like, I just keep learning something new is part of the fun and helps drag it out for longer. You know what I mean? It keeps you interested longer. And so, I know.
Right.
Can you imagine hating a frog? What is wrong in your life where you hate a cartoon frog? It's the easiest thing in the world to love. And so he's almost 2 feet tall. And he's great. And he scares me when I walk in the room and get that he's there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He's so adorable. You made a record?
Yes.
This
has been stated. Tell me about this record.
So I didn't make the record part. I made a song, and Connor Ratliff, who plays George Lucas, DM'd me and said, "Can you send me the MP3 of that?" And I said, "Sure." So I did. And then a couple months later, he DMs me again with a video of vinyl playing on his turntable, playing my song.
It was that vinyl.
Yeah.
Oh my God! No, play it.
I have to get the act. Here's the. I have to reshare the screen to share audio.
I hope it was. Let's say the backing track might get you guys a copyright.
Yeah, the backing track might get us a copyright strike because it's the I'm Easy.
Oh, that's a good point.
One, which is it's the original background music, so I don't know that I'll be able to play it.
But that's incredible.
We'll
Tell me about your
in the show notes so that everyone who hasn't heard it can hear it because it's such a good.
Thank you.
So good.
Tell us your musical history. Is this something that you've done before, or were you just fucking inspired?
I was fucking inspired.
Yes.
I'm not a musician. I don't know how to edit audio. I never edited audio before. In fact, I used iMovie to edit that audio file because it was the only thing that I was even familiar with the interface.
That's fucking clever.
I guess. Or is it ridiculous?
I don't know.
It's
absolutely clever. Yeah.
I felt kind of insane while doing it.
It looks the friggin' same as video and audio editing programs often look the same. And also, fuck whoever said that you got to do something a certain way.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I think that was like the ultimate. That was like my favorite. The funniest thing that ever happened on the show is when George was demanding that Stephen Charleston read the lyrics to a song one word at a time. Yeah. And at first he tried to optimize it by getting rid of all the duplicates and saying it once, but then he forgot, so he read them all again anyway. And like it ended up taking really long. By the end, like nobody was having any fun and no one seemed to like it, but I thought it was so funny. And so now someone will just take all that and edit it and make the song, which is like the ultimate like assignment, right? Like it's not just like it's not it's something that takes a really long time. At least took me a long time. Yeah. So I thought made it even funnier. And so I stayed up after the show ended all night trying to figure out how to do that. And I also never heard the song before. And so I was like in this sort of like manic silliness of like this will be neat. And so but I was also convinced the whole time I was doing it that like surely a dozen other people are doing this and they'll know what they're doing. And so I should probably get it done tonight because I won't be the best, but maybe I could be the first, to do it. And then so it was like maybe really late. I tweet it, and then as my head is hitting the pillow, I'm like, oh, maybe that was too much. Like maybe they're actually gonna think that was like kind of bizarre, and they didn't really want anyone to do that. Well, it's too late. And so I woke up and I got that sweet DM from Connor about the MP3. So that made me feel bad. And also I was shocked to see that I was the only one that did it. And so I kind of, if anyone's watching, I want to hear like more versions of that. You know what I mean? Like it's quite a lot of words he used. You could even use it for other songs. I think like a collaboration remix album would be really fun. If anybody wants to.
That'd be very fun.
I fucking love that. Iterations on that song, like the trap remix of that song. Friends.
I love the idea of finding other songs that
eyeball
have
emoji.
See,
lyrics.
DP Snacks, come on.
Emoji.
Come on.
Eyeball emoji. This is important. Oh my fucking God. Tell me about, so this year.
Oh wait, should I say one more thing?
Please.
Ricky Barty made a music video to that song too, which I should link, which was like also he also DM'd me and said, "Can I have that file?" I went, "Sure." And then within like, I don't know, 3 hours, he had produced an animated music video of the song. So, which was just like, I think I actually cried. I was so like, what? Like, it was really, really, really cool. And it just felt, I don't know, geez, thank you. That's really nice. Thanks. So yeah, it was fun to play. It was fun to play with other people. It was fun to see Ricky elevated it to actual art. I highly recommend checking it out.
Isn't it magic when like collaboration feels like magic?
Yeah.
You like have an idea and then it like comes back to you just better and
Yeah,
different.
exactly.
Like,
especially if you're surprised. Like he didn't say what he was going to use it for, and I'm glad because I got to be like completely stunned at what I was seeing. It was really cool. Yeah.
And it's especially cool having a collaboration happen in like such an earnest space when it's purely for like, I just want to do this because it'll be very fun to see it done.
Exactly. Like earnest as a word to describe the whole George Lucas and Planet Scum community, right? Like there isn't really any irony. It's very sincere, serious silliness. That's really, really nice.
wow.
I don't know,
Snacks.
but I love this.
I love that. I fucking love, I love
Your
it.
boss. Is your boss,
Right?
is your boss baby?
Are they Boss Baby?
Good question.
DP Snacks?
Good question. DP
They're-
Snacks.
they-
You gotta answer
Are
this.
they could be Boss Baby.
Could be boss baby.
It could be
Get
Boss
back to us,
Baby.
DP Snacks.
back to
Yes,
us,
tell
DP
us.
Snacks.
Absolutely. Tell me about this year. You, as far, okay. So not, but were they a Boss Baby? Because they could have been a Boss Baby.
That's true. Oh, but see, you've never met that. I gotta say, there are deep fakes. Have you asked your boss if they're a boss baby?
No one knows if you're a boss
I
baby on
have
the
to
internet.
imagine that they were.
That's right.
No one knows. So this year, something super incredible has changed that I know for sure with your artistry, and that is your freaking Etsy shop with these incredible things. Forrest's very favorite mask.
When I saw your offer to send it to Steph,
literally
I was blown away. And this is my favorite mask. It actually fits me
Really?
correctly and
Forrest.
comfortably, which is amazing because none of my other masks do. Like all of them popped off my ears and stuff. This one never does.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so good. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Masks are like high stakes things to make, you know what I mean? And everyone's face is different. And I have a really big face, and so a lot of masks don't fit me. And so I know how frustrating that can be to wait for one, and then especially when it was hard to get them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the beginning, where it was like, well, now what? So that means a lot. I'm really glad that you like it.
I wear it. I wear it every
literally.
time I go out. This is my my top mask.
Thank you.
On top of my second one to be like, I'm good.
I have a little Richie for that too. He's got a little.
Yes.
Doesn't fit his
safe.
face.
He's got to be COVID safe. Horde Jedi is absolutely the coolest.
God.
Tell me about starting an Etsy shop though. You started this during quarantine. Have you ever tried selling your art before or making a living on those parts of your skills?
So scary because I realized that like if you're making yourself a frog, it doesn't have to be like great.
Yeah.
Well, he is in his own way.
Incredible.
But
Thank you.
He really looks professional, honestly.
Well, I was just saying I didn't hold him too close, but thank you. I appreciate it. the idea of view mechanism, like that people could review me, and also like with a mask, you know what I mean? The first thing I sold in the store were masks. Like I was really anxious because it's a device to help keep people safe, and it was still kind of early where like every day they were changing like the best fabric, so like it felt very high stakes. And but I felt so powerless at home, and I knew that I had a sewing machine, I had fabric, and at least so I'd made some to give away, and then I was like, well, I'm not making any money right now, and so maybe this could be a way to to help bring some in. So it was sort of a necessity that I started doing it, and it ended up working out okay. It ended up being really fun. Oh, thank you, Richmond G. That's very sweet.
Just saying.
Thank you.
Just
make a list of the unloved ones and honor them. That might be. Maybe I will make a line of unloved villager plushies. That'd be good.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I agree with that.
Well, it's true. Like, so I worked retail, and as anyone who's worked retail can attest, at least in terms of my skewed bias memory, most customers are mean. It's not true, but literally every single customer I've had on Etsy has been kind, has been patient, has been generous. Especially I make like Fandom masks. Like there's. Oh wait, shoot! I think I DC'd. Am I back?
Oh, you're back.
Okay, I was like, is that us? Is it us?
I'm so sorry.
Because sometimes we'll go out and we can't hear anything, so I'm just like...
Yeah, sometimes it's on our end, so we usually just like act as if we can still hear, so that when we come back, it covers it.
Guys.
But no, it's all good.
Not even
it's
a
all
problem.
Good.
But bring that up.
Yeah, I'll bring up.
Yes. So you've been making Fandom masks, which are fucking boss.
Thank you. And I think because it's niche, right? People are, because I know like when I was a kid, like I really liked a lot of stuff, and there weren't a lot of, if you liked something weird or obscure, there wasn't really a way to get. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I know how much I treasured as a kid, like my niche Fandom little trinkets that I would get online or from people who make stuff, and so I think the customer base then is just sort of like you're already part of a community together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's more of like an interpersonal dialogue you can have, and like I've had like a nurse who wanted a matching scrub cap, and so like it's nice to be able to like make stuff that people want. It feels really good to make stuff that people want.
So currently on your shop, what can people buy? And tell me about custom orders, because I see a lot of people reviewing about that as well.
So right now, we just moved this week. Behind this laptop is a sea of cardboard. I'm very strategic. So right now, my whole workshop is packed up. But I'm hoping over the next couple weeks, it'll be up and running again. I can certainly make custom masks, especially with my Cricut. So my Cricut made this, right? I drew with the Planet Scum logo and the font and stuff like that, so I was able to cut it out.
Did you also make stickers?
Yes.
Did you make this sticker, which is on my notebook?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Shiny holographic.
If people want holographic stickers, they can get that. Probably not this, right? Because I don't own this logo. Right. But like a holographic sticker of something else that I'd be happy to do. Yeah, if anybody, honestly, if there's anything you want that's made out of fabric or vinyl or board or anything, let me know and I can try to make it for you, as long as it's not, somebody else's intellectual property.
Right.
That's so cool. Is there a favorite custom thing that you've created thus far?
I think the scrub cap I made was really nice because I worked with her from start to finish. It was actually my first custom commission, and so it just felt so fun to like ask somebody what they wanted and be able to make it for them, Yeah. And then she sent me a photo of her wearing it and the mask at work at a hospital, and I just I got really emotional. Like, you forget that like the things you make like, because when I put them in the mail, I don't really know what lives they have. And knowing, getting to see glimpses of the stuff he makes out in the world, serving people in different ways is like, I can't even describe how nice that feels. And yeah, so that one was really fun.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like a friggin' dream.
Yeah.
Horde Jedi, tell me, do you have other little Richies for us?
Oh, yes. So another thing this year, or maybe this is last year, but my whole like learning how to do things and be willing to be bad at them for a long time. Like growing up, like I think when you're a kid, you know, you're either shoehorned into like a science kid or like a reading, writing kid.
Yeah.
And so I sort of stopped because I got more positive reinforcement from teachers and stuff on the humanities side of things. I just assumed I wasn't good at science or math or anything like that. And so, or certainly electrical engineering. And so it wasn't until I was an adult that I decided, like, well, what if I just learned how to make something anyway? And it's not about being good or bad at it. What if there's no innate talent? What if it's just taking to learn? So I made a lightsaber, long story short.
Cool.
Yeah.
Show us.
So it's light out, so it won't glow, but you can hear it. I'll wake it up. So you can program different sound fonts and colors in it. So this, I just muted it, sorry. One sec. Sorry, everyone. One sec. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Okay. So you can swing. It can detect it. It'll flash on impact. Grand finale. Friggin' lightsaber.
You have to tell me how did you learn this? What are those parts? What was the hardest part? What was the most fun part? You must tell me these things.
So there's a place online, a magical place called the Custom Saber Shop, I think it is. And you can buy a lot of components there. So for example, the thing that allows you to program the different sounds and fonts is a chip that you can buy, basically. And then I had to learn, what I had to learn to do basically was just solder and make circuits and die, which is easier than knock on wood, I thought.
Yeah.
And so luckily, like we were talking earlier about Saber Guild, I had people there that had made their own lightsabers, and I could ask them to sort of proofread each of my soldering points and stuff before I connected it to power. And so it was nice to have mentors in that way.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of like, I think even the Custom Saber Shop has a YouTube series where they make one from start to finish. So I would highly recommend starting there if you want to make your own.
That is
so
fucking
cool.
Incredible.
Thanks,
my
guys.
gosh.
It's my favorite thing in my life.
Cool.
It's so fucking cool.
Thank you.
Horde Jedi, we just have a couple of more minutes with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Told me something a little earlier that I just want to throw this in there because I'm so fascinated. You, in addition to being a creative powerhouse, you are also an academic powerhouse who happens to be studying bad behavior in online communities around video games. Am I correct? Am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
Okay.
I played World of Warcraft for a long time. I met my wife in World of Warcraft, actually.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my God.
Thank you. And my favorite, I found like my favorite thing about MMOs, anywhere you have like huge amounts of people in a virtual environment, certain normative behaviors develop and certain things are considered, by which I mean certain things are determined normal and certain things are determined deviant. There are certain forms of cheating in an online game that are accepted by the community and by the developers, and there are also versions of cheating that are not. And what defines that, right? Often it's based in economics. You know what I mean? You doing anything that will give you a perceived financial advantage, even if it's like a virtual currency. So a lot of real life norms are replicated in these virtual worlds, almost from the bottom up. Like people will sort of start policing each other, and like so there are a lot also like what I really like in MMOs is there are different like policing systems that are developed that are really creepy and really problematic and can then be sort of generalized and used in real life online surveillance, stuff like that. And also it's just interesting to see the ways, even in a fictional fantasy world, where, you know, the idea is it's a power fantasy, you can do whatever you want, how people are policed and disciplined in these virtual worlds. So that's what I'm studying. That's yeah.
That is
So
beyond fascinating.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Thanks.
No, that's absolutely fascinating. Tell me, is there like a soundbite that you can leave us with of like an interesting fact? I want to know. Wait, what's another bad behavior that people do that gets policed? Okay. Like social behaviors and stuff?
Yeah, well, so what got me started on this is I don't know if anyone's played an MMO, but there's a thing, so there's a lot of communities based around exploration, meaning going places you're not supposed to access as a player. Mm-hmm. So there are, sometimes it's called wall walking, where you kind of jump and move in certain ways and negotiate your virtual body in this virtual world in a way that it's unexpected, so that you can climb mountains you're not supposed to climb, and access, go underwater, place you're not supposed to go. And so there are whole communities of people dedicated around finding these secret places. A lot of the times they're testing areas. A lot of times they're weird jail cells and interrogation rooms. You know what I mean? And there's but you're punished if you're caught going there. But nobody really knows how you're caught, because it's in the interest of the developer to keep that a secret. And so there's a lot of lore amongst players about, are your movements tracked? Do they have detectors when people get here? Is it safe to go there unless someone reports you? And so that controls people's behavior rather than anything specifically implemented in the game's code, because that's only a small piece of it, right? So I'm interested in this weird idea where it's you put something bizarre in a game, and but punish people for looking at it. I think is interesting, and yeah, so that's my favorite part.
That's fascinating.
So fascinating.
I always love that. I love that part of things, because it's, especially when you have some of the ones where there's the contrast in philosophy of some of the various developers running MMOs, where you have some of the super hands-off ones where it's, we will let you find these kind of exploits and all that, and then you have the ones that are much more we have to be fair to the other players who aren't going to spend time doing that.
Yeah.
And there's also, it's so fascinating. It's so,
exactly.
So fascinating.
And what's considered an exploit and what's considered creative use of game mechanics is so interesting.
And because it's so often it's who is disadvantaged by the glitching out and exploiting of it. If it's an NPC, well, who cares? And then players will start to do that and funnel. It's so interesting.
So I am very interested in having you back on just to talk about that specifically. Wow. Honest to God.
Yeah. Thank you.
But we do have a question from the chat, and my final question for you: drop your plugs. Drop your plugs. Yeah. Drop your plugs. And of course, if this is a thing that you would rather give out privately, then we can absolutely talk about that. But share with us your plugs, because we can definitely hook that up.
That's so sweet. Yeah. So my so first, DP Snacks. That'd be great. Please DM me on Twitter. My name is Feral_Yeet. It's kind of embarrassing because I made it because it was the most generic burner account name I could think of, and now it's my name. But yeah, Feral_Yeet. You can also on Instagram. I'm at Cloud Clipper Co. And that's also the name of my Etsy store, is Cloud Clipper Co.
Awesome. And that's all going to be in we're going to put all of those in the notes for the show. So sorry to cut you off.
I'm sorry I talked so much.
When we post that episode, I'll tag you in it too, so it'll be easy to find there.
There is absolutely going to be a second part of this interview. I want everyone to know. It is now time for everyone to get over to the Discord for the pre-show. But what we want to leave you with as you drift off to that wonderful place is that this Saturday, amazing fan of this show, Isaiah Thomas, that's right, they were on last week. It's Show Me the Talent. Everyone email Isaiah and show up and do literally anything. We want to see. This is a dare. I am daring you to show up for this show and do something fucking weird. Tell us your affirmations. Tell us the best gossip story from your high school.
Ooh, this sounds like a good show.
Right? I want to fucking see that. We are going to be performing.
I have no idea what I'll be doing yet.
And I'm going to be doing something fucking weird.
Perfect.
Yeah. So show up to see weird shit. Show up to share your talent. It's going to be so much fun. Everyone get over to the Discord. Thank you so much for joining us. Horde Jedi. Good night and good climb.
Good night and good climb.